Hello there, this is Santiago Zapata, and today we are working in NovaMundi. So we are pushing through the development of some new features. We are working on the combat system, and it's been a long time. I mean, a lot of work to improve the combat system the way we want, and there's still a lot of work, additional work that needs to be done there. But we gotta continue at it, I guess, if we want to get it somewhere. So very quickly, some of the additions that we have made, or the idea behind all these changes, is to make the system more interesting, I guess is the word. So what does this mean? We want the players to have to take more choices, more gameplay choices, so that combat is not just um, randomly sending bunches of units against the enemies. Instead, some of the things that we are adding are weapons and armor that you can equip to your units, that you can find as treasure in towns or in some other locations. Um, Different modifiers for these weapons and armor. So yeah, that requires big changes on the inventory model, for instance, because you can now have weapons there, and these weapons can have different attributes, modifiers, stuff like that. So, for instance, this is, of course, the in development version, still not available on Steam. And in here, hold on a second. Yeah, in here we have already this. So you can see that here's your party, your expedition, and there's equipment now. There's a tab for equipment. So you have in this case, there's just some test items that we have here, and they can have modifiers. For example, here's this sadistic spear. It can create or cause bleeding. This is a good spear of speed, so it grants some bonuses for a movement, for instance, and you can just exchange the equipment for the different units that used to be fixed. So yeah, was a pretty big change. And you will also be able to find these items, and with the merchants they can now trade these, for instance, stone axe, a new type of weapon, and you can barter that for some other weapon or two weapons, trade, and then you can equip that axe, for instance. So yeah, it's been some work in the programming side, designed. There's a lot of work that is still needed to be done there, so that it feels good. And of course also art. We're going to need some changes on the models so that the new types of equipment can be shown. Um, but we think that it's worth it. I mean, this is a gap that the game had since a long time ago, and we decided it was time to give it a solution, even if it was going to take a bit. So that's the intro. There's been enough of an intro. I'm gonna check the backlog here because I want to do some progress today, and I want to share it with you. So first I'm going to integrate some work that we have here pending being integrated, and this there's a merge request for this. So there's three merge requests now. I'm going to go from the oldest one to the newest one. So this one is implement poison effect, poison damage and poison effect in the overworld. Implemented There's been a lot of back and forth here. Let's see how it's currently looking. There's a conflict here. So for this one, we created two items, two test items, the blowpipe and the arquebus. These are items that have intrinsic effects of poison and burn. And we are adding two different checks here when we are attacking to do some additional damage and marking the units as damaged. I think this is mostly fixed now. So this is missing in the expedition class. This still needs to be fixed. So we're going to have to fix that before integrating these changes. We also did a lot of cleanup, removing some bookkeeping of status effect flags that we did not really need. Attack causes poison. Yes, this is correct. This is fine. And this needs to fix the tabulation, but the logic looks fine. Another simplification that we did here. Yeah, I think this is mostly fine. So we're going to address this comment, and we're going to sync this branch with the main branch. Copy this. Let's check out into that branch. We're going to push first some changes that we have here. It was a lot of work to make the animals work again. Attack again. Cheat options. Let's roll back that. And let's check out this and pull. Already up to date. Okay. And we are going to pull from the main branch. And there's a conflict in the item types. Let's check that conflict. There's some conflicts because we're doing some changes here. So the arquebus is the addition that we have here. So we're gonna try to add it here. I believe the conflicting change is that we are not adding the weapons as normal loot anymore. That was probably it, so I just removed it. Let's scrap this part. And this other one, the change here was adding this effect parameter. So I'm going to add that here and discard this part. Let's see if there are any more conflicts. No, we're fine. Okay, so we save and commit the merge. And we check that everything is working fine here. It's reloading the scene because we changed it when we changed the branch. We are 19 commits ahead of master because there was a lot of work to make this poison and burning damage work. So we gotta integrate it as soon as possible. Let's check first that there are no compilation issues after the merge. Oh, it crashed. This doesn't really happen that often, I swear. But of course it has to happen when I'm streaming some coding. Alright, so we're going to launch Unity again. And then, yeah, while it launches, it's already open, okay. Here you are. There are no compilation issues. All right, so we're going to push that merge. Oh, sorry. These 19 commits were just the ones coming from master. So we're going to push them, and now the merge request should be mergeable. And then we only have to address this. So in the expedition class, line 257, here, so what Esteban did here was he connected into the existing sickness system and made the poison effect like share the same things, but we need to change it. So basically, the way that it worked before was that if we did a check for the sick change, and that sick change comes from the weather and whether you are sheltered. That may cause an expedition member to get sick. However, what we added here was that regardless of that chance, if the expedition member was poisoned, we are gonna increase the sickness level, and I believe this happens every hour. Else, there was a chance to cure. So yeah, we're gonna have to do something here like if the expedition member is poisoned and else. So that's like two different branches of code. And for this one, we're going to keep it the way that it was, which basically means that there's a chance of increasing the sickness and recovering that sickness. But we need the previous sick level here, regardless of this. However, if the member is poisoned, we are always going to increase the sick level. And we are never going to reduce it, which I believe mirrors what Esteban wanted to do here. Probably. Yeah. It's hard because maybe he wanted to recover health when you were no longer poisoned, but then we would need like some tracking the reason why the expedition unit became poisoned, and we don't have that, so I'm gonna leave it like this. Probably uh, I'm gonna push this change, and then we will leave that node of reviewing if this is what we really want in the design. Okay, so change logic that increases sickness level, increases and recovers sickness level based on being poisoned. Right. And now that that's there, let's do a final review of this merge request. So, I hate this. Let's do a very quick cleanup. Just for replacing those horrible indentation issues here. But I don't see it here. I think this is probably outdated. Oh, sorry, it's in the campaign builder. I am sorry, but I cannot leave that true, so We're gonna fix this. Actually, these test items, we should probably only add them if we are running in debug mode or something like that. Because yeah, this is just in the meantime while we test the combat system. Well, so there's that. This one's fine. This one's fine. The following process should be inside two methods. Is armored. So I think we're gonna change this commit to a to do. That's in the expeditionary controller. The following process should be inside two methods: is armor weak to damage type and is armor strong to damage type. That's absorbed and bonus. It's hard. Oh well, actually the bonuses. This is this makes sense, and I believe we can do that right now. We can do something like private boolean is armor weak to damage type. And then for now we can do the if chain, sorry. So this all depends on the damage type and the armor type. So we are going to receive, actually we should move this function, this method to the somewhere else, probably the combat manager. Is armor, right, so damage type and armor type, armor type. This is some basic rules of those additions that I was just mentioning about making the combat system more interesting. So if the damage type is piercing, so when is armor weak? Weak is where there's this bonus. So if damage type is piercing and armor type is segmented. That's one possibility. Did I cut? No, it's still here. Okay. Or damage type is slashing and armor type is padded. Or damage type is blunt and armor type is hard. So yeah, that's looks better. This is just a cleanup task, which I believe makes sense. I think I had let it be like that because I thought maybe the bonuses would be different based on what armor was hitting what damage type, but seems like that's not gonna be it, so it's okay. Um, is armor strong to damage type? And in this case, it's piercing versus padded. Mm, slashing versus hard, and blunt versus segmented. And then we can change this so that if is armor strong to damage type, the attacker damage type and the defender armor type are the parameters here. We could move these to the, oh no, these are enumerations, not classes. So if this is the case, if the armor is strong, then we absorb the damage. Else, if is armor weak to damage type. Then we have this bonus. Okay, so we address that comment, which makes a lot of sense, much cleaner. The only thing that I see here is that this doesn't really belong to the expeditionary controller. This belongs more to the place where we are defining these damage types. This is an enumeration on its own file. What about the armor types? Also an enumeration in the model. So yeah, not good to have them there. So let's look at the combat manager. We have a lot of logic here. We could have static um, methods here. I believe that makes more sense to have them here. So we're gonna put them here, and then we do the combat manager that is armor strong to damage type and is armor weak to damage type. Private, now we need them to be public. Here they are, so that's good. Cleaner. And this is, let's leave that cleanup for a mass commit. And in here, we clean up, clean this up in these sets of rules, which looks much better. So clean up to move uh, weakness or strong or resistance to damage type per armor type to combat manager. Basically, that's what we did. We moved that away from the expeditionary controller, which didn't make sense to have it there. And that's it. That's it. So we push the changes there, and we continue reviewing this merge request. Heal burns. This is what we just changed, yeah, which I believe should be fine. We still need to do a lot of testing. All this cleanup was needed. This could be simplified to a single method that receives the item modifier and the status effect or effect parameter key, but I'm gonna leave it like that for now. This is horrible indentation in crew member. This is fine, this is okay. Refactoring the localization models, dangling comma. I'm gonna leave it like that. Poisoned cleanup. All right, and a lot of localization keys. So we're gonna say ball. We're gonna check what we are committing. So this is removing horrible space indentation. Push, and now we can merge that. So we now have poison and burn. I'm gonna refresh this and we're going to merge. So that's a big one that was pending. Now we have two others merge requests that were sent. First one is fixing a very useful debug option, which is Life of Hera, but I don't think this was actually completed. Let's check Jira. Poison and burn. We actually addressed this. I addressed that comment, so we can now move this ticket to done. And this one, it was not clear what happened there. I don't think it's working yet. And I don't think I'm gonna spend extreme time on that. Let's leave it like that. Still pending being fixed. And the other MR is some work on adding weapons to loot based on designs. So we have some rules here to determine when a enemy party is defeated, how to determine what weapons they drop, right? And the idea is that it's gonna come from what they were using. There's gonna be a quality modifiers or a quality drop. If they had magical weapons, then they become cursed. And well, there's some calculations here to determine how the things are generated. So what we have here is that the loot is implemented, basically this first part, and the item quality as well, but we still need to determine how to define what magical and special effects the weapons are going to have. So first, we're gonna resolve the conflicts. I'm gonna pull this branch. Should be up to date. And then I'm gonna pull from the main branch. And let's see what kind of conflicts we do have. So create enemy party, right? So he created a method to set the enemy equipment, which makes sense. So I'm going to add that here, replacing this placeholder thing that I had done. We probably don't need to return it, but we'll see. I'm not gonna do changes initially to what Esteban put in place. So there's that. What other conflict is there? No more conflicts in the events class. And in the item types, we have a lot of some big changes here. So these are in the add loot. He added a region. This is what we had. Actually, I had already started doing some work on this. Quality. Here we would decrease by 1. So quality. Oh, he already did this. I can remove this, and the transferring happens afterwards, and he has more logic, so I'm gonna discard all that I had here and leave his. However, I'm going to fix in advance this indentation of the on the okay, so he also added for all the different kinds of equipment. Let's fix that horrible indentation, and let's fix this because I don't like this style. We also need to do some changes here on the item transferring calls because that was one of the big changes that happened that I was mentioning on the inventory system. So some of these methods no longer exist in that same way. I see a lot of duplicate code here, and we are gonna attempt to clean them up, but first we need to merge. So what happened here? Transfer item does not contain one accepting. So what changed here? Transfer items. I believe it was just this name change, yeah. Transfer items, because you can actually transfer more than an item using this. So we change that. Okay, save. Check if there are any other conflicts. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Add it here. Check if this compiles. Seems like it compiles fine. Okay. And then we commit the merge and push the 29 commits to the feature branch. And now, after we are synced, we can actually review the changes. So it's not a lot of changes, at least not in a lot of files. In here we have one setting the enemy equipment. This is happening in the events module. And the first thing I'm going to do is fix this horrible indentation. We can review here. So basically this is setting the equipment for a given enemy that we are creating. We are doing a roll 1 to 100. We can chain this here for simplicity. Actually, I don't know if we need this. No, this may be an issue. So we don't need to explicitly set the null modifier. No quality modifier because it's normal. And here else. So yeah, just some quick cleanup here. Mythical. So that's a first thing. 13, 85, 90. Okay, so it looks like initially these are the same for all the types of. So I'm gonna create another private static item modifier. I believe why do I think this already existed? I don't know. Get equipment quality modifier, and actually it doesn't matter what enemy he is or anything. So we just have this. We're gonna rename this to equipment quality role. And we are just gonna return the item modifier. I'm sure this was somewhere else, but we are gonna see that probably in a bit. So we're gonna get the item, item modifier, weapon quality modifier is gonna be this. Sorry, get equipment quality modifier, and if that one is not null, then we're gonna add it here. We also need to check if the enemy has a weapon, because maybe he will not have a weapon. Set enemy equipment. Hold on a second. Okay, so this sets the enemy equipment modifiers, actually. Because, yeah, the weapon is already set somewhere else. So if the enemy has a weapon, then we do this, and then we care about this. And we do the same for the armor. And for the blessing. Alright, and we can remove all these. So there's that. Return enemy. We don't really need to return the crew member here, unless we have some chained things, which I don't think we do. So yeah, we should be fine. Just calling this. I'm almost sure this was somewhere else, but anyways. So there's this. Yeah. Save it and push it. Events. So I just wanted to clean up the indentation, but I ended up doing a bigger cleanups, which is also good. Always good. So I'm just gonna name this clean up, clean wall. All right. I'm gonna push that, and I'm gonna continue reviewing. Okay. So where were we? I started from the bottom. For some reason, it's not much shorter, and it's just adding the quality modifiers to the equipment that has already been defined for the enemies that we are facing. So this is fine. Now inventory item. What happened here? Okay, so he did some changes to add a null modifier to be the index here, but I don't think that's a good idea, because we don't actually need that. Null is no modifier, so we don't need to have that as a key there. So I'm gonna roll back the changes for that. That's an inventory item, and that's on the dictionary. So I'm gonna roll it back to being indexed by item modifier. Which means that I will also roll back this 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the diff is not very clear here, so special. What happened here? Yeah, this diff is not very clear. get special, get magical, and they should return an item modifier. And this, yeah. Oh no, sorry. No, this is fine because it may be null. And this is the new one? No. Get magical modifier. Get special modifier. These are additions. Yeah. Add quality modifier was changed with this parameter and special magical and the normal modifier. Modifiers list is again gonna be not allowing this. Yeah. That should be it. So save, check the changes, and we are rolling back the possibility of indexing the rollback possibility of having null as an index for the modifiers map. Instead, we are checking, and if we were going to add a null quality modifier, we are not adding anything. I'm pushing every change because I am constantly updating this merge request. Okay, so inventory item, I believe that, okay, so inventory item is just now these two new changes. Now the big one, item types. We have two utility methods with bad indentation, it seems. Item types, yeah, spaces. Decrease item quality and course item. These are two new methods, and this one is correctly indented, this one is not. Format selection, this is fine. This already existed, it seems. Oh no, these are just the changes that I'm doing. So that's just a minor thing. Uh, and these are just doing some transformation of modifiers. I believe these are better. There's an item modifiers file where the enumeration lives, and there's also items modifiers. I believe they belong more here, so I'm gonna put them here. I'm gonna move them away from item types. They are transformations of modifiers, so we're gonna move them here. And we're gonna make them public, of course. Public, decrease the item quality, and course item. Actually, they are get decreased quality modifier and get coursed magical modifier for a magical modifier, and then it's gonna complain here. In here we need item modifiers dot get coursed magical modifier. In here we're gonna need item modifiers dot decrease, no, get decreased quality modifier. I anticipate some duplication. So that's just the movement. In here it's complaining already. that quality modifier. Yeah, oh, this was missed from the previous one. We gotta do some casting here because we already know that it's not null, but the compiler is not smart enough. This is actually an event, so we're gonna push that change first on events because it's actually part of the previous change set that we did not test because we are kind of working here in the air at missing casting. Save all, and then we move that. All we did was moving that, so move move item modifier transformation methods to item modifiers class, static class, which is a better place for them to live. And then, so that's here. So, and then we have this. This is in the add loot. So here's, as I mentioned, there were two parts of this. When the enemy party is generated, we define the quality of their weapons. And I believe so far we don't have any special modifiers or magical modifiers, only the quality modifiers. And then when it's dropped, then we drop the quality and curse it. So that is probably what we have here. I'm going to refresh. I moved, yeah, so these are the methods that we moved. And in here we have this. We get the quality modifiers and the course variation. If it's mythical, we decrease it always. Else, we decrease it in a chance. And then we transfer the item. And I wanted to check if this is the same for all pieces of equipment. It seems to be. So we're gonna go there to item types. And we are going to transfer, okay. We're gonna fix this one first. So if the enemy had a weapon, we need all these modifiers and we need the cost one. First, we decrease the quality if it's mythical or there's a chance, 50% chance. If that's the case, then we decrease the quality and we add it to the party, not to the inventory, to the loot. So we can remove this. If we did not decrease it, then we use the normal quality modifier, and we are always coursing, but we need to check if there was a magical modifier. If magical modifier is not null, then we're actually going to reuse that magical modifier. It's going to be the cursed variation. We're gonna use that here and here. And we're gonna do something similar with the quality modifier. If we're reducing the quality, then we use it here, and we can just drop by here. So that simplifies the logic a little bit. And this is for the weapon. This is for the weapon. So we're gonna copy this. And maybe what we can do is, let's see. We need the item as a parameter and the inventory. Let's see what we need. So we're gonna need a private static void add equipment loot. Let's see what parameters we need. We need the equipment, so this is an inventory item, yeah. Inventory item, enemy equipment piece. That's what we're gonna work with here. Get the modifiers that that equipment piece already had. We alter them if needed. And then we add to the inventory. I wonder if we should return this item. Yeah, let's return it. And then this is gonna be inventory item here. And we are going to transform equipment loot. And then where were we using this? In here? Yeah, in here. So if the enemy had a weapon, then we transfer that item, that weapon to the loot, but before we transform that weapon. And we will do the same for the others. And I believe, I don't know, maybe it's just a rule that I have, but most of the times regions are not needed if you refactor stuff like this. That is why I'm removing those regions, because they are not needed here. I mean, the code should be self-explanatory here. So yeah, we're transforming that armor and also the blessing. Okay. I was wondering, there should be a chance of actually them not dropping the weapon. But yeah, I believe by design currently it's like this. They will always drop all the weapons they had. Alright. So that's another small cleanup. Double cleanup. Sable. Check that it's compiling always, if possible. Seems to be. Okay, so we are gonna clean up. Transform equipment loot, clean up. Okay. And then we're gonna push this. And we're gonna need to do some movements here in Jira. We're gonna need to transform this so that its scope is changed, and we can afterwards add the special and magical effects. Um, why do I have? Okay, so I stole this ticket from Stevan. I'm gonna return it to him because I actually was planning to do it, I believe. Um, it's weird because okay, so I'm going to duplicate this. I cannot. Jira is constantly changing. How do I clone it? Clone it. And we're going to add special and magical modifiers to it's not to the loot, it's to the enemy parties. And I believe we still have to define that, design that. This is the EX2745 and it's here. It's gonna go to the next sprint. EX2745. Sprint 156. And where is it? I guess it's on the bottom of the backlog. Yeah. So we move it to the sprint 156. And in here, we're going to modify this ticket because it's going to be just this. The equipment available for looting should be the same used by the enemies. Quality modifier drop. If the item has a magical modifier, it becomes cursed. This is all already in. When the enemy party is generated, the quality, this is already in. Each piece of equipment has a 10% chance of having a random special modifier applied to it, and a 5% chance of that. Yeah, save. So this is a new task, development task. And this one, I'm going to change it because it's gonna be add weapons, armor, and accessory to loot. And this got all these, but doesn't have the random special modifier. None of this. And including quality modifiers. And what did I miss here? Double S. Okay. Special and magical effects. Yeah. So after quite a bit of refactor, we do a final check here. We changed all that code to this is actually not needed. Let's leave it there. Transform, transform, and transform. Right. Merge it, and we're going to rename this. It's gonna be no longer work in progress. Add equipment to loot with quality modifiers. And it's gonna be merged now. With that, we can move this ticket to done. And yeah, I believe, well, I didn't do a lot of my own code in this session, but I did manage to integrate work from other team members and do some refactors along the way. So yeah, I think tomorrow maybe I will be working on this. This is gonna slip to the next sprint, of course, when we close this current sprint. Small changes that are really needed. We are bound to have a new beta version of this very soon. Uh, we need to do a lot of testing to make sure that this feels and plays fine. But yeah, that's where we are. That's it for today's session. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe if you want to see me coding or playing some Japanese RPGs, because that's mostly what this channel is about, or some obscure indie game. Um, if that's the case, if you like that, remember to follow me and subscribe. And I will see you in the next session. Have a great day.